Boom! What's up, familia? Dayspring here with an episode of Power of X-Men to discuss some upcoming Marvel Legends in 2024. Well, rumored Marvel Legends in 2024. This list is coming from Rektangular, and if y'all don't know who Rektangular is, he is a long scooper in the Marvel Legends community. And for whatever reason, we can't see his feed on Power of X-Men. I speculate that once upon a time, many years ago, we made a joke on one of our episodes where we're like, oh, this is going to end up on Rektangular's leaked list. And I think Rektangular must have listened to that episode because we have been blocked on Instagram from him when we've never had any communication whatsoever with him, and we've never said anything, but that's the only time we've really mentioned Rektangular in the context of Power of X-Men. So it was a lesson we learned early on in doing podcasting, which is like, oh, let's be careful with some of like the jokes we drop, because we didn't mean it with any shade. It's just we're so knee deep in Marvel Legends that when you talk about Marvel Legends and speculating and insiders and people who get scoops, Rektangular is one of them, because I've said this before, Marvel Legends is so niche. It's a micro community within a micro community within a micro community, right? Especially if you're an X-Men fan who collects Marvel Legends. You have the larger Marvel umbrella, you have action figures, you have Marvel Legends, you have people who just collect X-Men Marvel Legends, and we dabble with some of the other waves, of course. We love Marvel Boy, who was one of our favorite Marvel Legends this last year, but we predominantly collect the X-Men Legends. So we don't really get a lot of opportunity to sit down and talk about insider information or speculation. And I've said that one of the most wonderful things about being a Marvel Legends collector, and this has been true since 2002 when I had frosted tips. I mean, I guess I still kind of have frosted tips. I got to dye it back next week once my season picks up. But one of the things that's such a great thing about being a Marvel Legends collector since the very beginning, since 2002, that wave one from Toy Biz with Toad, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man was that, ooh, who could we possibly get in the next wave? And there are very few people that you can have these kinds of conversations with. The community, the Marvel Legends community, has grown quite a bit over the last few years, and we love that so much. But there's not many people historically that you can just sit down in the way that you would talk about sports, like a fantasy football team and stuff like that. Or I don't know, I don't really follow sports, but my point being is that you don't really have an opportunity to sit down and talk about Marvel Legends in a very fun, speculative way. And that's what I want to do in today's episode, because Rektangular is talking about some figures that we're going to be getting in 2024. And I know in the past that he's had some words with the Hasbro team, and it's all very contentious. And again, we don't want to be involved in anything. We're just going to be discussing on what someone else has been reporting on, and we just want to have a good time doing so because we love Marvel Legends here. Some of these figures, they look great. We're so excited for it. Now, Rektangular has mentioned a lot more figures than what we're going to be talking about in today's episode, because we're just going to focus on just the X-Men. But he is reporting on a Captain America New World Order wave with a Build-A-Figure, spoiler warning, with a Build-A-Figure Red Hulk. He did mention that we were going to get a Thunderbolts wave. He did mention that there was going to be a lot of villains coming up, and he also did mention that we were going to get a Strange Tales wave. So go check out his episode, go directly to the source, get the raw information from there. I always encourage folks to just go to the source before you decide something's true or false, or if you like something or you don't agree with something, always go to the actual source and interpret it for yourself. So we are only going to talk about the X-Men. Well, maybe one non-X-Men. I mean, I think she's an honorary X-Men, but we'll get to her when we get to her. But we're only going to talk about the X-Men that was being reported on. And again, Familia, even though Rektangular is a long-standing scooper in the Marvel Legends community, his data, his insight always historically is pretty accurate. But however, none of this is confirmed. We talked about this with display model behavior last year, even though a lot of those figures are coming out now. We trust these sources. That's why we are sitting down and talking about it because we trust them. However, as we mentioned in that episode about display model behaviors list, take it with a grain of salt. I'm saying the same thing now with Rektangular's list. Take it with a grain of salt. This is not confirmed, but again, historically, these scoopers tend to be accurate, and that is why we are going to dive into their lists because we're so excited. Oh, these are so excited, and some of these were on our most wanted Marvel Legends for 2024 list with Hammy and Flink. And I know Familia, Hammy and Flink, they put the biggest smile on my face. When I was editing that episode, I was just having such a good time. And I always know I'm having a good time editing an episode when I'm not focusing in on any of the flaws with the audio or stuff like that. I'm just like enjoying the conversation and I get a smile and I start moving around in my laptop, kind of like making notes on like where, certain conversations are happening. That episode of our most wanted Marvel Legends. Thank you all for all the DMs about it. And I agree, it's because of Flink and Hammy. They have such beautiful chemistry. We got a message on our NGLs being like, we're Hammy and Flink flirting. And, it warms my heart that we are able to have a conversation and open the doors for other people to come in and just have a good time. And that's what I want to do today. I did message Hammy and Flink to see if they would be available, but they weren't, but we are talking on DMs right now, even as I'm recording this, because I sent them this information. And we're so excited. But anyways, okay. We're gonna dive into Rektangular's list that he's reporting on. I'm clearing my conscience now. Take it with a grain of salt. However, historically, Rektangular it's pretty accurate with his scoops. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna talk about, to no one's surprise, is Deadpool 3 and that we're going to get a wave for Deadpool 3. Now, he also mentions that we're going to get a deluxe Colossus figure based off of the Deadpool Colossus. So not the X2, X3 Daniel Cudmore Colossus, but the Colossus we have been seeing in Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. A deluxe figure, that sounds great to me. I guess he'll have multiple heads. I mean, it's curious to me that why wouldn't he just be a Build-A-Figure in the way that the Age of Apocalypse Colossus was a Build-A-Figure? But that's fine. Give us a deluxe Colossus. But now knowing that Colossus is going to be a deluxe figure, that does give us a question mark on who could a Build-A-Figure be for Deadpool 3. I think it's pretty safe to say that we're going to get a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool and a Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie figure. So that's already two. Who could the Build-A-Figure be? I guess that depends on who is in the movie. We've kind of been not reporting on any Deadpool 3 news because Ryan Reynolds has gone on the record saying that he wants this movie to be a surprise and there are a lot of leaks happening on set and he understands it because they are just as excited to do this movie as fans are, but they want to keep things a surprise. I've talked about it with Pedro, the mini toy box, who sent me Rektangular's list this morning. By the way, shout out to Pedro for sending the video because I was like half asleep because I was up late watching Saltburn and eating leftover Thai food. I was up late. And I slept in, and Pedro sent a message this morning saying, "Hey, did you see this?" I was like, "Whoa, this is a great way to wake up." So shout out again to Pedro. But Ryan Reynolds has been asking that people don't report on Deadpool 3 stuff, especially, and he called out fan channels. And, me and No More Mutants, we loved reporting on what was already out there. And listen, we think, and I've talked about this with Pedro, we think this is a much larger social media campaign for the movie. I mean, you cannot buy the amount of hype that there is for Deadpool 3. This amount of hype is next level. Everyone in the Marvel and X-Men community is excited for this movie. And, it would be silly not to think that Marvel isn't aware of that and Marvel isn't, rolling out a social media campaign. I mean, Ryan Reynolds reporting saying, "Hey, please don't post any leaks." While I think that is a very fair and honest message, I also think it just adds to the excitement and mystique of the movie. But anyways, okay, I'm gonna end with that rant. So we have Colossus, we'll have a Deadpool, we'll have a Wolverine figure. Now, Spoiler warning, Variety already reported on this. Variety being a industry trade is saying that Jennifer Garner's Elektra is in the movie. Now, Jennifer Garner, of course, has been cagey about whether or not she's in the movie. She has been like, "What? What are you talking about?" But Variety has reported on her being in the movie. That is an official source. So we can say that maybe we'll get an Elektra figure in this wave. I think that'll be really good. I would really, really enjoy that. I think it's safe to say that we can see some Fox X-Men in this wave as well. Who is going to come in from the Fox X-Men? I mean, again, this is just pure speculation. This is based off of nothing that has been on set. But I think if we're going to have a wave and anyone in the Fox X-Men universe can appear in this movie, if anyone can appear in this movie, I think a surefire bet would be a Storm, a Holly Berry Storm. I think a Famke Johnson Jean, and I think a James Marsden Cyclops. I think those three, if they are in the movie, again, they are not confirmed to be in the movie. There's no insider tea if they are in the movie. I mean, listen, I have said that I ran into Famke in the West Village summer of 2022, and I was like, you need to be in the MCU. And she kind of gave me a knowing, coy look. So maybe that is a slight little confirmation that we have here that Jean will be in the movie. It would be ridiculous if Jean Grey is not in Deadpool 3. Whether it's Sophie Turner, whether it's Famke Johnson, whether it's a recast, you need Jean Grey in an X-Men movie, just like Storm, just like Cyclops. But anyways, I think Jean, Storm, and Cyclops would be surefire bets. In terms of villains, it depends on who like the villain's going to be. I know there's so many rumors out there, but you know, let's see what we get. And the build a figure, again, the build a figure will depend on the story and the villain. And let's just say this is just an example. This is just a pie in the sky. This is just me throwing out there. If Omega Red, for example, turns out to be the villain in Deadpool 3, Omega Red has not been rumored to be, well, it's not that he has not been rumored. It's just that everyone is coming out and saying this character is rumored to be in Deadpool 3. And it's like, yeah, no shit, this character is being rumored to be in Deadpool 3 because Deadpool 3 is one of these unique movies where they're going to be dealing with the multiple timelines. Anything can go, anyone can come into this movie. So, of course, you can rumor that Magneto, Xavier, Omega Red, anyone could be in the movie because it's such an open slate for it. So, again, I'm just saying maybe Omega Red can be a build a figure if we get a villain of that caliber. If it's Mr. Sinister, we'll get a build a figure Mr. Sinister. The only strong rumor I have seen out there for a villain in Deadpool 3, and we kind of already reported on this, was Cassandra Nova. She has been long speculated at this point, maybe like 8 months of her being in Deadpool 3. So will we get I would love, but if we get a Cassandra Nova in Deadpool 3, I want a comics accurate Cassandra Nova from E is for Extinction with that explorer outfit that she has and that which Xavier wore in Powers of 10. I was going to say Rise of Powers of 10. No, just Powers of 10, issue 1, when they were establishing Krakoa. Anyways, so Deadpool 3, we're going to get a wave. We can assume Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, and Ryan Reynolds Deadpool will be in that wave. And we're also getting a deluxe Colossus. Next up is continuing the 2-pack for the Wolverine 50th anniversary. We will get a Fantastic Four Wolverine and a Fantastic Four Spider-Man. I don't think I have much to say on that. I mean, Wolverine and Spider-Man were part of the Fantastic Four multiple times, and they have their blue costumes as well. I love it when it was a Fantastic Four, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Hulk, and Spider-Man, but I think we're probably going to get the ones in the blue costume, and I think that will be a lot of fun, and I'm here for it. I don't really have much to say. I would probably personally pass on a Fantastic Four, Wolverine, and Spider-Man 2-pack unless the figures look really, really great. I'll probably just be like, I'm glad it's out there, but just not for me. All right, next up, he is reporting that we're going to get an Xavier on a retro card, and this is so exciting. Now, I don't think it's going to be Xavier in the hover chair. Rektangular speculates it's going to be a version of Xavier where he can walk, and he's thinking it's going to be the green jumpsuit, kind of like what we've seen in X-Men, the animated series. That's fine. I'm not going to be upset with the green jumpsuit Xavier. But I mean, the fact that they've done a lot of the 80s, 90s characters, especially with the Strike Force. I would love an Uncanny X-Men 181 Xavier where he was resurrected by the Shi'ar right after he left Earth in the comic books. He gets resurrected in a clone body and he has that like yellowish suit. I would love that. I mean, if you would pair him with a Rebellion spider suit Lalandra, I would be so happy. I know it's supposed to be retro card, so it's not going to be a two pack, but still. But if I could say which Xavier I would want in this situation, I would love a Fatal Attractions Xavier where he shuts down Magneto's mind. I love that costume so much. I think it would be so great if we got one just like that. But Rectangular is saying that it's going to be Xavier in the jumpsuit. That's what he's speculating the costume will be. Next up will be a retro card Quicksilver. And I can totally see this being done. I think Rectangular said that it was going to be a green version of the Family Matters box set that we got. And all I can say is I hope it's not just a repainted version of that Quicksilver. The Family Matters Marvel Legends Quicksilver, the one that came with Wanda and Magneto, I thought was so bad. They've never done our boy Quicksilver right in Marvel Legends format because when we got initially with I think it was a blob wave, looks like a Playmates figure, and the Family Matters one is okay. Listen, the bar set really high because that one that we got from Toy Biz back in the day of the 5-inch figures was such a beautiful figure. It's probably one of my favorite ones out there. So the bar is still set high for me with Quicksilver figures. I would want them to just give us a brand new figure. I don't want a repaint of what we already got. And we also got in a green costume Quicksilver in the past. He was a repaint of that blob blue costume Quicksilver figure that we got again back when Hasbro took on the license for Marvel Legends. But if we're going to get a Brotherhood era green costume Quicksilver, scrap it, do something, scrap the previous figures and do something completely new. I would love that so much. I think give Pietro his due, and I would love a running change in a blue costume. All right. The next figure is our honorary X-Man, Warbird. And you're probably like, what? Carol Danvers? Yes, when she was binary, she was more or less an honorary X-Man. But yes, binary is technically not an X-Man, not a mutant, but we are going to get a Warbird figure according to Rectangular. We got a Marvel Legends Warbird back in the day when there was the Walmart wave in what 2005, 2006, and she kind of looked like Meg Ryan. So not the best, version of the character. We would eventually get one as part of a 3-pack with Radioactive Man. That was a Target exclusive, and that was an okay figure. I can't really picture her in my head, but I know she was out there. I guess she had the head that has been used for Gamora, an alternate head for Jean. So she has that generic like Marvel Legends head that has been repurposed quite a bit. So if you're going to give us a new one with Carol in this costume, please, by all means, I'll happily take it. And this, of course, in the anime series is a costume she was wearing when Rogue absorbs her power. And I'll never forget when Miss Marvel comes in that scene in a Rogue's Tale, and she's like, "That's Ms. Marvel to you," and punches like Blob. I love this costume so much. This is a costume that I got to know Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, in when she was with Miss Marvel, and I know she eventually took on the mantle of Warbird. This is a costume I know her in, and I love this costume so much. It's such a simple costume. Flink loves this costume. This is one of his favorite costumes as well for the character. I love it. So if you're going to give us one that doesn't look like Meg Ryan, I'm 100% here for it. And finally, a 2-pack that will be a fan channel exclusive is this background, which is Destiny and Mystique. Let me take a sip of my coffee because that is some good news that we're getting there. I hope this turns out to be real, Familia. We've already had a couple Mystique figures, right? We had the Marvel Legends Sentinel Wave from Toy Biz Mystique figure She kind of like had a diaper because I guess the figure technology wasn't there with the skirt. So it kind of looks like she has a diaper. But we got Epic Heroes Mystique, that wave two of Return of Marvel Legends, where she was a running change with Madame Hydra, I believe. But we have that figure out there, which is based off of Mystique's solo series from, the early aughts. And we have the Walgreens exclusive Mystique as well as the X-Men anime series Mystique with a Nightcrawler, which that infamous scene of Mystique over the waterfall has now been kind of retconned out. That infuriates me because it's such an iconic scene. But anyways, so we've bought a couple Mystique figures in the past. I think the Walgreens exclusive Mystique is probably such a beautiful version of that character. If they sort of re-release that figure, which I don't think they will, because they could have re-released it for the X-Men animated VHS box set Mystique, but they didn't. They gave her a new head. But if they did release it, I would be okay with it. I hope we could probably get a different version of Mystique out of this. Which version would I want? Well, there is first appearance Mystique, which, it's basically her traditional iconic costume, but it with slight differences, like noticeably that her top is more of a corset and she sort of has, crisscrossing straps on the side, and her hair is a little bit more very straight, and she looks a little bit more villainous in it. Not that, her Walgreens or Epic Hero versions of the figure don't look very villainous, but it is a very distinct, very mean 70s looking villain. But first appearance, I could throw in there. The one I would personally want, and this is what I'm talking about with Hammy and Flink on DMs as I am recording this, is a X Factor Mystique. With the blazer and her long hair, don't care, and plenty of guns. I think that would be a fantastic figure to have. You can put her in an X Factor display. I know it's not really accurate to the teams that we already got in, but if we are going to get a Wolfsbane in her X Factor costume, has long been rumored, give us X Factor Mystique. Those are the versions of Mystique I would want. Destiny is pretty straightforward. Destiny has basically had one costume. Give us Destiny with her big old chrome head. Now, what Flink and Hammy and myself were talking about, because because Destiny was in our most wanted list, would we want her with her traditional older lady head with the bun, or do we want the newly resurrected Mystique who is younger with black hair? If you're going to do a deluxe figure, and this is going to be a fan channel exclusive, this is what Rektangular is saying, the fan channel exclusive, I would say give us both. Why choose? We can have both. Give us two alternate heads for Destiny. One with the big old chrome head, one where she's a traditional old lady, and when she is resurrected on Krakoa with the black hair. I would love both of those heads in addition to her head. We're definitely getting the chrome head. That's 100% there. But will we get two civilian heads? If I had to pick, if Mystique put a gun to my head and told me I had to pick one, either the traditional Destiny head or a newly resurrected Krakoan Destiny head, I would say the traditional Destiny head. When I conceptualize Destiny, I conceptualize her as an older woman, and I love that about the character. So that is where I would land on that. If I was a marketing executive and I had to, send this over to Marvel for approval, which figure head do I think is going to make it out? I think it will be the newly resurrected Krakoan head. Depends on where the X-Men also land post Krakoa. Marvel has done a lot of revamping for their older women characters, right? Like we just got the new Madame Web trailer, and she's obviously very young in that. And we know with Agatha, Catherine Hahn is very young and fabulous, and so we know the character now in the comics is more of a reflection of the Agatha we saw in WandaVision. And of course, Aunt May, Marissa Tomei, has been playing her in the MCU. So they've de-aged a lot of the older women characters to be a bit more reflective of what it means to be aging in today's society. So I would wager if Marvel had their way, we would just be getting the newly resurrected Krakoan Destiny, but I personally would want the traditional older woman head with the white hair, bun, big old glasses, and like little swirls, like Coke bottle like glasses to make it look like she's having a vision. Anyways, Familia, what do you think? How excited are you? Which Destiny head would you want? Drop your feels below and we will discuss as a Familia, and go over to Rektangular's YouTube page and check out his video.